Hey, welcome to the video on the Rebounds People's Choice Award, Group Draw and Explainer. Welcome, my name's Chris Hughes, I'm from Rebound Basketball Blog. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm sure you've all watched a lot of YouTube videos to know how it works. Appreciate all the support I get from the British basketball community. So this video is on Rebounds People's Choice Award. This award that we've been running through our platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram now for the last 2 to 3 seasons. I believe it's the third year of us doing the award. So, about the award, for me, I feel it's really important we recognise the talent in the NBL D1. How it works is akin to a popular football competition that's on every 4 years across all the continents in the world. We have group stage where you just vote for your favourite player. The top 2 players usually go through to the next round. This year, we've made a few changes. So I think I'll start with the changes. So usually with the Rebounds People's Choice Award, it's a 32-man shortlist. Now, in my opinion, and with a lot of players I spoke to this season through live shows or previews, we've all agreed this is probably the most talented competitive season. For that reason, I've extended the shortlist to 53. So that means the group stage works a bit different. In the past, it was 8 groups of 4 as per that international competition I was referring to earlier. So this season, we still have the 8 groups. We have, I believe, 5 with 7 teams and 3 with 6 teams. I mean, when I say teams, I mean players, of course. Apologies. And also, we have decided this year to seed the players. So the 8 best players that came out in our shortlist were guaranteed a top spot to start with in the group. So how I decided the 53-man shortlist was to look at statistics alone. So I looked at the efficiency per game, but I also looked at the efficiency per minute. So obviously some players will play 30, 40 minutes a night, post 30 efficiently, great, they've had a good performance, we get that. But there are some players who will post a 25 efficiency game, but actually only play 15, 20 minutes, and actually per minute, they're probably a bit more efficient than the guys who played 35 minutes, got 29 efficiency. So then I basically went through the whole spreadsheet of Basketball England, looked at the efficiency per game as my first indicator, and I listed the top 53 players. Well, I listed them in the order of efficiency per game, and when I was looking through the shortlist, I felt that the players up to sort of around that 50 mark were competitive in terms of, I thought maybe people would think they're in the top 15, 20 or top 30. But the further I got down, I found it hard to argue for those players. Was 1 or 2 I missed out, or quite a few, but were missed out on the shortlist. But I felt the players in the shortlist were more likely to finish in the top 50. There were a handful of few players who maybe could have made the top 50, but maybe wasn't sure how far up the top 50 went. So then after that, I looked at the efficiency per minute. I then looked at a few of the straddlers below my initial 53, and the ones who sort of did well both, they made the 53-man shortlist. To decide the People's Choice Award winner, that's done on a fan and stats approach. It's a 50-50 balance. The statistics will only come in at the beginning to decide shortlist, but also at the end to decide final positionings. Fans can vote each week for their player who they feel is their People's Choice Award for this season. They can vote across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and this year also they can vote on YouTube video. So this video today they can vote straight away for they like out of the players in those groups. But for on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the post will go live Monday at 1 minute past midnight Greenwich Mean Time, and be up till the following Friday evening. More details we post in due course. So, which players seed this year? So when I looked at the efficiency per game and efficiency per minute. I gave them a straw. So basically, the person who came first in each category got 52 points. I then looked at the whole shortlist. The guys with the highest number, they went top of the leaderboard. Apologies, I'm not explaining it too clearly. So the top 8 guys who scored heavily on both were Greg Pony from Hemel Storm, Hakeem Sia from Thames Valley Cavalier, Mauritino Williams from Leicester Warriors, Taylor Johnson from Thames Valley Cavaliers, Team Sotestrals, Travis Charles and Orla Jackman, and Leon Francis and Ronald Blade from Reading Rockets and Team Newcastle University. So we know who made the top 8. Now talk about how the rest of the 53-man shortlist was made. So, firstly, my main priority with this competition, award, People's Choice Award, was to promote the depth of quality within the NBL across all 14 NBL D1 clubs, but at the same time, reward the clubs that are doing especially well. So, like Thames Valley Cavaliers, Team Sotestrals, have a few more players than maybe the likes of teams who are not doing so well at the moment. Also, all stats were accurate as of the 28th of February. So any performance since then haven't actually factored in to that decision. However, when we do the final standings, as I mentioned, the stats will come back into play. And we'll look at that player's stats from up to the end of the season to decide where they finish in the top 53. Also, I wanted to bring out players who were still currently with NBL D1 clubs. So the likes of Cameron Hildreth, who's Strauchers, and one or two others haven't made it. I also wanted it to reward the players who have played quite a lot of games too. So like the players who played under 4 games were cut, with the exception of Mauritino Williams, who I feel like in his 4 games has made a massive impact, both with results and form. You can see how Leicester Warriors look a much more competitive team and hard to beat since he's come into the lineup. I also was wary of picking players who haven't played that much in this calendar year. I've seen this year a lot of teams have a lot more depth, and there has been some roster changes. And all players, to my knowledge, are officially with the NBL D1 clubs currently. In pot 2, to remind you, we've got Ian Smith, Great Ossibor, Victor Olorerin, Jonas Diederich, Jordan Santiago, Carl Jimenez, Ocean Williams, and Ricky Fetsky. Let's spin the reel. So first up's Ricky Fetsky. He goes into Group A. Jonas Diederich goes into Group B. And in Group C, we've got Ocean Williams. He'll join it, Mauritino Williams. Williams, Group back 1. Next up is Victor Olorerin. He goes into Group D. He'll join Taylor Johnson of Thames Valley Cavaliers. Next up is Mr. Triple Double, Carl Jimenez. He goes to Group E with the walking bucket, but is Travis Charles. Ian Smith would go into Group F, but we are trying to avoid multiple teams avoid players being in the same group as their teammates. He'll go to Group G. The next player will go into Group F. And that will be either Great Ossibor or Jordan Santiago. So as I said, Great Ossibor is going to Group F, as we're trying to avoid players on the same team being in the same group. And just to make sure everyone's name's drawn out, Jordan Santiago, last but not least, goes into Group H. So now we move on to pot 3. To remind you, we've got Oliver Stanley, Brandon Federici, Jacob Conway, Seth Hawley, AJ Roberts, Howard Crawford, Jonathan Lashley, and Blaine Freckerton. Again, as I mentioned earlier, in the first round of the group stage, I've tried to avoid having groups with more than one player from each team. For example, as you just saw, I moved Ian Smith into Group G, as otherwise in Group F he would have been joined by Olin Jackman. This way, lots of fans of clubs have a lot of interest across the board. If all the ex-clubs players were in Group B, the fans of that the fans of that team would be able to be involved in the whole of the group stage. So let's spin that reel. First out, Blaine Freckerton. No clash there. He'll be joined with Red Polian and Ricky Fetzi in Group A. I think we need VAR to decide that one, but the computer says Oliver Stanley. He does the Group B with Hakeem Zia and Jonas Diedrich. Apologies for the clash. I'm new to this real thing. In Group C is Jonathan Lashley. He goes in with Ocean Williams and Mauritino Williams. As you see, as the players' names are out there, thusly deleted from the circle. And in next out, AJ Roberts in Group D. He joins Taylor Johnson and Vic Dollarera, and that looks like the shooters group from early players coming out. E, Brandon Federici. He joins Travis Charles and Carl Jimenez in Group E. Down to the last three now. Next out is Howard Crawford. Howard Crawford joins Drake Ossiball and Olin Jackman in Group F. Those very tough forwards you want to clash with in the paint. Now, the final two, either Jacob Conway or Seth Hawley. And we've got Jacob Conway. He will join Ian Smith and Liam Francis in Group G. And to make sure it's fair and all the players come out, spin the wheel like last time, and Seth Hawley joins Group H with Ronald Blaine and John Santiago. Now we move to pot 4. This contains Blake Bowman, Mike Williams, Sam Newman, Martin Dell, David Moyer, Jace Housen, Brendan Okonkwo, and Syer Taylor. Again, we'll try and avoid players going into groups with their teammates. So Brendan Okonkwo did not go to C, E, F, and G. Blake Bowman will try to avoid it into Group G. Mike Williams try to avoid it into Group A. Dave Moyer Group E, and Syer Taylor Group F. Well, let's spin that reel. First out, Blake Bowman. He could easily go to Group A. They have to move him, but anyway, so he'll join Greg Polian, Ricky Fetzi, and Blaine Freckerton. Next out, David Moyer, Group B. This year we've extended the shortlist to 53, and I think that really represents how much talent there is in the NBL this season. Jace Harrison, he'll go to Group C with both Williams and Jonathan Lashley. Mike Reeves in Group D. Probably for the best he's done in Group D. Otherwise, Group C, if he came out one bit earlier, he would have been in a Group C with two other Williams. Sias Harris in Group E. Sam Newman's Group F. Martin Dell's Group G. And Brendan Okonkwo will be in Group H. So we now move on to pot 5. Quickly to let you know who's in it, we've got Josh Moore, Bernard Hetcho, Ethan Price, Harrison Gamble, Taya Oyefusi, Bodie Adeluola, Carl Latifa, and Richard Salt. Again, if any of these players get picked in groups with a player from their team, they will be firstly moved where possible. I do think if Solo and TBC both got players in the pot 6-7, they might have to be in with a teammate, but we'll see how we get on. Right, let's spin the reel. I've seen some other YouTube channels. I really like this wheel. We'll probably have to incorporate it into other content we do in the future. First out the hat's Bode Adelirola. He, let me just check there. He can't go to Group A, he'll go to Group B. So obviously Greg Paley was in Group A. We're trying to avoid those clashes. Tayo Oyafusi will go to C. Again, the C cannot go to A. So out is next. Ethan Price is out next, and he can go to Group A, so he'll join Greg Polian and co. And now we've got Harrison Gamble. He goes in Group D. For left, Bernard Herhetro. He'll go into E. And Joshua Moore, he'll go to Group F. And now we've got Carl Latif and Rihar Saltz to decide which ones they go to. Carl goes into Group G and Rihar Saltz goes to Group H. We'll just spin his name just to make sure he gets picked. Again, the players are shortlisted into this by a combination of their efficiency per game versus their efficiency per minute. We then put these guys as their leaderboard, tell how well they've done in both, and then broadly put the 53 but impressed us most. However, I wanted to broadly represent all 14 MLD1 clubs. And there was one club that only had a player added I thought was worthy of being in the top 50. And the player that was took out was only played 1 or 2 games this calendar year of 2021. Right, you probably just wait for me to spin the wheel. Let's spin that wheel. First out's Jordan Gray. He can, let me just check. He has to go to Group B, because obviously Ethan Price just a minute ago was in Group A. Reese Pinnock will go to Group A, because obviously Jordan Gray couldn't go into Group A. Andre Arisol goes into Group D, because he couldn't go to Group C. So I imagine Elliot Daz will go into a group with one of his solo teammates. All the other groups have solo individuals. That's Richards next out. He goes into C. So as I said, Andre Arisol can go into Group C. Kane King goes back into the order E because he could go into Group E. So who's going to be out next? It's Leicester Warriors' Leon Henry. He goes into Group F. Now got Elliot Daz and Malcolm Smith. So Malcolm Smith will go to Group H. So he could go to Group G, which puts Elliot Daz in Group G. He'll be joined in Group G by his teammate Ian Smith. Just spin the wheel to confirm it, but all done. Now we move on to the last pot. Pot 7 has 5 players. I decided not to fill up 8. I thought I'd give an advantage to the 5 most efficient players who are seeded 1 to 8, who are already predetermined the groups based on their combined efficiency per minute versus efficiency per game. We've got Ashley Udo of Derby Trailblazers, Delaney Power of Nottingham McDonald's, Tom Ward of Worthing Thunder, Sem Una of B8 London Lions, and last but not least, Lewis Champion of Thames Valley Cavaliers. And let's see who is drawn in Group A first. Let's spin that wheel. This reminds that Wheel of Fortune days I used to watch back in the day. Ashley Udo, he goes into Group B, so he could go to Group A. Sem Una, he can go into Group A, he'll go into Group A. Delaney Powell goes into Group C, which she's able to. Tom Ward from Thunder, he goes into Group D. And Lewis Champion will go into Group E. So I was just trying to work it out, but as I said, it would be really hard to sort of move all those players around to accommodate Lewis Champion to a group that didn't involve the Thames Valley Cavaliers player. Elliot Dowds and Lewis Champion both in groups with their teammates, but they're also from teams with the most players represented in the Rebounds People's Choice Award. So to recap the groups, in Group A we've got Greg Polian, Ricky Fetsty, Blaine Freckleton, Blake Bowman, Ethan Price, Reese Pinnock and Sam Una. In Group B we've got Hakeem Silla, Jonas Dietrich, Oliver Stanley, David Moyer, Bode Adeluola, Jordan Gray and Ashley Udo. And in Group C we start with two Williams with Mauritino and Ocean Williams respectively. We've got Jonathan Lashley, Jace Harrison, Taya Oyefusi, Max Richardson and Delaney Powell. In Group D, we've got Taylor Johnson, Victor Olarerin, AJ Roberts, Mike Williams, Housen Dabble, Andre Arizal, Tom Ward. In Group E, we've got Travis Charles, Carl Jimenez, Brad Federici, Sire Taylor, Bernard Herhetro, Kane King and Lewis Champion. Then in the three remaining groups of 6 teams, Group F, we've got Orlin Chapman, Great Ossibor, Harold Crawford, Sam Newman, Joshua Moore and Leon Henry. Group G, Leon Francis, Ian Smith, Jacob Conway, Martin Dale, Carl Latifa and Elliot Dads. And last but not least, Group H, we got Ronald Lane, John Santiago, Seth Hawley, Brendan Okawonkwo, Rihar Salt and Malcolm Smith. Voting for your choice starts on Monday across all our platforms. You can vote by commenting on the YouTube video as well. And also on our posts on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, we'll do the poll as we did last time. But with Facebook and Instagram, it'll be a comment on the post to enter. And the vote for the first round group stages goes on for a week. And top 3 from each group will advance to a second group stage, in which 2 of each group will go through to the knockout round. More details to come as the weeks take place. So now we know what players are in which group from Group A to Group H. As I mentioned, after the first round of group stage, the top 3 go into the second group stage. This will be to whittle down the players down to the knockout phase. 4 groups for the second round of group stage. Group I, J, K and then L. In Group I, we'll have the winner of Group A and Group H. And the runners-up are Group B and G, and the third place teams are C and F. Group J will have the winners of Group B and G, the runners-up are C and F, and the third place is D and E. Group K, as I was saying, Group K will have the winner of Group C and F, runners-up are D and E, and third A and B. Group L will have the winners of Group D and E, runners-up are A and H, and third place in B and G. More details once we get to that stage, just to enlighten you of the process. There's also a knockout round. I'll also post the important date. So each stage of the competition is about a week. The post will go live at just before 1 minute after midnight on the Monday morning and end 9 PM Greenwich Mean Time. When we hit the second group, the knockout stage, we move to British Summer Time again. The start and end of both all the knockout stages is 1 minute after midnight and up to 9 PM on the Friday British Summer Time. Again, we'll get more in depth on those as we know the players are in respective groups and the respective knockouts. So thank you for watching. I'll be doing these videos each week, and please, when you vote for your player, leave a little suggestion why. I'll read out the best comments. Again, I hope you enjoy. I really enjoy doing this People's Choice Award. I think it's a great way of promoting the players within the league, and it's a fun little competition. It's meant to be taken quite lightheartedly. And again, at the end, it's the winner is the player with the most votes. They'll probably have been the player got all the way to the final, along with the stats. Again, so once we know all the 53 players' final position, I'll then look at the stats, award a number of 0 to 52, depending how well they've done compared to their peers. So the most efficient per game will get 52 points, the least will get 0. Say for the most efficient per minute, they'll get 52, the least will get 0. They'll also get points for the amount where they finished in the fan votes. So the most voted by you guys will get 52 points, least get 0. And as it's 50-50, the stats will be halved, so then no player to get more than, say, 52 in the stats, and no player to get more than 52 points in the fan vote. So just important ground rules and to recap bits we went over. First, I'll start with voting. So people can vote across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now YouTube this year. I'll start with a new one first. So YouTube, comment below in this video who you want to vote for as your People's Choice Award. And you vote as soon as the video is live. Any votes after the same time as what I'm doing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram will not be counted. Just to be fair with everyone to have the same chance and opportunity to vote at the same time. With Facebook, this year we're not doing a poll, we just do it as a post on the feature. So on my Facebook page at Rebound NBL on the Monday morning, I think 0 past midnight, I'll post a post with the image of the group. Below, you just put a comment on who you'd like to win. Limit that to one per person. By all means, I know Facebook to edit or delete, and whatever's there come the deadline will be what's used. If there's more than one vote, that second vote may not be counted. It probably won't be counted. And that's it with Facebook. Again, if any issues, just message me across this platform. I'm happy to help out. Towards the end of the month, I will go back to work, so I might not have the time to reply straight away, but I will reply to all queries as per I did last year. With Twitter, we'll keep with the poll. With the groups being a bit bigger in the first stage, I'll separate the polls of 4 and 3. Again, you vote for one that you like. With Twitter, that does give you the option to vote for 2 players if you like to. And so feel free to do that. Again, in the comments, put why you voted for the player you voted for. I'll read out the best comments on the follow week's video. Now, with Instagram, I made a bit more change this year because what I didn't realise at the start of last year was that the stories, they last 24 hours. So to counter that, it'll just be votes on the post. So if you comment on the post who you'd like to win, again, that's 1 per person. Again, comment reason why you'd like to win. I appreciate if you want to retweet, share on the platforms, but it's going to be hard for me to keep track of them. So if you share a post on Twitter and then put your answer in the shared tweet, I might not see that. Same with Facebook, same with the Instagram story. So please keep it just to the post. That way I can see your vote. And that's everything with voting. So also in the event of a tie, so first, second are tied, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, the first place team does a second group stage, so on and so forth. And it's safe for any part of the draw. If there's a tie, I thought of reasons to decide it. So firstly, if 2 or more players are tied on fan votes at the end of that stage, that's the first group stage, second group stage, quarterfinal, semi-final, or the final, we'll look at efficiency per minute. The player with the best efficiency per minute will get that first seed or second seed or a third seed. If it's not for qualifying purposes, we'll keep that player tied on points, especially because when we come to classify them at the end, they will have their efficiency that will move them off that tied, or they've been involved in the group stage before that and have to vote compared to the player who they're tied on. If those players are still tied on after efficiency a minute, we'll look at efficiency per game. And if in the likely circumstance they're tied on points, tied on efficiency per minute, tied on efficiency per game, I'll probably just look at alphabetical order. If you have an idea how you want me to separate, I'm happy to get feedback and which can change accordingly. I think it's unlikely, but a player will be tied on votes efficiency per minute and efficiency per game, but I thought I'd put that out there just now. So, obviously, it'd be great if you could follow the platforms through that time and vote across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I really love doing these. They're really popular for you guys, and I hope you really enjoy it, especially this year with such depth of quality in the league. I'm really hoping it gets a lot of popularity for you guys and something you enjoy, especially at the moment, as a sort of get back to that new normal. We still can't play, go watch basketball, but it'd be great to get you guys involved in this, and I hope you really enjoy it. I'll be doing videos each week to sort of give a recap of what's gone on, read out some of the best comments and some of the messages I get from you guys about it. Again, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I've got a lot going on this weekend if you're watching this Friday evening. 8 PM, I'm on Upstream Media to do the official L Lynch Trophy pre-game show. I've got Andre Arisol from Team Solar Testrals on to preview both his semi-final and also the other semi-final. The semi-finals was Team Solar Testrals versus Rowan Thunder. This will be the fourth time they've met this season. And Thames Lake Cavaliers versus Loughborough Riders. But if you're watching this video on Saturday and Sunday, I've got shows coming up as well. So on Saturday, I've got my pre-game show for Upstream Media. That's live before the game. Got Worthing Thunder's Dominic Ives on to preview that one. So that'd be great. I'll also get Dominic to preview his L Lynch Trophy semi-final game on the Sunday. But on Sunday, I keep talking about the L Lynch Trophy. That's the semi-final pre-game show. It's an exciting game. Thames Valley Cavaliers versus Loughborough. I feel a bit nostalgia of this game because last season it was the last game I commentated on, so I'm looking forward to watching this one, seeing how these two teams are advanced, so they both will make for an exciting game. I'm joined by a great guest. I think when we look at the L Lynch Trophy so far, especially the group stage, one player that comes to the fore is Evan Walsh, who started at Oakland Wolves and now gone on to the BBL. So he'll be joining me. We'll talk about his journey, and also he'll be previewing that game before the guys on the mic take on the commentary. Again, give this video a like if you've learned something new or enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe to us across all platforms. I'll put links in the description for our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. I'll also put links in the description for any other reading, but I think you might find interesting. Stay safe and see you guys next time. Cheers, goodbye. You'll see the slide a bit. Again, I'll go into that in more detail in the next video once we know the results of the first group stages.